Hi, this is Keith Robinson. I would like to introduce you to a concept called Fix My Life, discovering hope deeper than your circumstances. This is a teaching series that will get at the idea of how to actually have a life that is fulfilling, and in our words we would say it's fixed. It's joyful, it's deep, it's happy. And we're going to find out that it's much deeper than our circumstances, whether they be easy and happy circumstances in our life or difficult. This is session 1 of several sessions, and you'll be able to click right through the sessions in chronological order, and you'll be able to figure this out with us as we study this journey together about fixing my life. Well, let's get at it. So let's think about this for a second. Sometimes life is really tough, and things happen like we have bad health, or we have zero cash or minimal cash, car issues or other transportation. Maybe our family is a mess, relationships are crumbling, low grades if you're a student, not doing too well, or maybe you have a job and it's not a bad job, not the job you want, and life is just really hard. And you say, man, I would just love to fix my life. And we think, man, if I could just, instead of bad health, if I could just have great health, if I could do all the things I want to do or maybe that I used to do, that would be perfect. Instead of having zero cash, how about being wealthy? That car that's a disaster, how about a brand new one that everything works and it runs great? Instead of a family being a mess and relationships are in turmoil, how about a perfect family? And man, when our grades are bad, how about instead of that, straight A's? Nice. That job that isn't going so great, how about one that makes a ton of money and has a great job? Man, that'd be just perfect. Wouldn't that be great? We'd say, man, that is easy. I want my life basically to be fixed because it's easier. But I want you to look at that list on the left-hand column. How many people do you know that have some semblance of great health, maybe plenty of money, decent transportation, a nice family or other relationships that are very meaningful and good, being a great student, nice job, lots of money? How many people do you know that might be a descriptor of their life, but yet you'd never say their life was fixed? Instead, you might actually say their life is a disaster. It's really sad and difficult, and man, it's very depressing, and people are in a bad place instead of a good place. Well, one reason might be what C.S. Lewis said when he said this. He says, human history is a long, terrible story of man trying to find something other than God which will make him happy. In other words, there's got to be something other than a circumstantial fix, fixing our circumstances to make our life happy or meaningful, or in the words that we're using here today, fixed. How is it that we have our life fixed? Well, we have a little bit of insight into this whole idea in the book of Psalms. In Psalm 73, the writer Asaph says this, my flesh and my heart may fail. In other words, man, I'm just in a really bad place. Things are going very poorly. But God is the strength of my heart and my portion forever. God is where I get my strength. God is where my life is fixed. And then he goes on to say, those who are far from you will perish. When we're separated from God, it brings all kinds of death, and we perish. Hopes perish. Relationships perish. Dreams perish. And all kinds of death happens, not just death in the Romans 6:23 sense, where the wages of sin is death, and that's more like talking about eternal death and spiritual death, but all kinds of death happens. And it says, you destroy all who are unfaithful to you. But as for me, it is good to be near God. So we have this idea of being far from God and being near to God. And the idea really strongly here is that we find our strength in a near relationship with God. He says, It is good to be near God. So our relationship has a choice to either be far from the Lord or near to the Lord. So let's look at how this actually plays out then in relationship to our circumstances. So our circumstances, we've said, are either easy or hard. Now, generally speaking, I mean, you can generalize this. It's not exactly perfectly clear. Sometimes one part of our life might be easy, another part might be hard. But in general, which side are we on? And then we go, well, our relationship with God is either near or far, which sets up these four conditions. When our circumstances are easy and we are near to the Lord, we call that square one, or pleasant joy. When times are really tough, yet we're still staying near the Lord, that is painful joy. It's painful because our circumstances are hard, but it's joyful because we are staying near the Lord. Square three is called disconnected ease. Disconnected being far from God, and ease because our circumstances are easy. And square four is disconnected misery. Disconnected being far from God, and miserable because circumstances are hard. And so if you look at these four different conditions, one question might be, where would you see yourself today? Are your circumstances easy or hard? Maybe it's going fine and you're near to the Lord. That would be a square one experience. Or maybe, truth be told, man, you're a long ways from the Lord. He's basically a stranger in so many ways. And circumstances are difficult. That would be a square four condition. Or maybe it's square two for you. Maybe life has been really, really difficult, but you're hanging on. You're staying close to the Lord, staying close in fellowship with believers. Heart is soft, life of worship, that kind of thing. Or maybe it's square three, a lot like the majority, I would say, of the United States of America, where circumstances are easy in general and being far from the Lord. Disconnected ease. So these are the four squares, the four conditions, and we're going to talk a lot more about these in the next presentations, and I hope you tune in again. Thank you so much for all your time and listening to this. I really appreciate it.